I long to be loved, and it is a constant anguish. What am I to do? And most of us in this position, we all want to be loved, especially by what? Now, let's go into this. I've got what now? It's a very complex question. Why do we want to be loved? And why has it become anguish, an anguish? What is the cause, the root, or the motive wanting to be loved? You understand my question? I want to be loved by you. God forbid, but I want to be loved by you. Why? Is it I'm lonely? Is it that I feel if I'm not loved, I have no raison d'être to live? Is it that if I'm loved, I feel I can flower, grow, be happy and all that, right? Is it that in myself I'm nothing, but when you love me, I become something? You following all this? Please, this is your life, not my life. So please listen to this. So there is a cause which makes me say I want your love, right? There is a cause. There is a motive. There is a background which says I must have that, right? So we have seen some of the causes. I am desperately lonely. You all know that, don't you? Married, unmarried, whether you're amongst a group, and so on. Human beings, through their self-centered activity, bring about loneliness, right? Is that one of the causes of the desire to be loved? As long as there is a cause, the effect is to demand that you should love me, right? So can I understand the cause and be free of the cause? You have understood what I'm saying? Please, sir, this is your life. I am lonely, depressed, isolated, and feel desperately unhappy. And if you love me, I see by you everything is so beautiful. So my demand, my desire, my longing is based on loneliness, demand for companionship with whom I can talk, unfold all the rest of it. So there is a cause, right? Now, do I see the cause? Actually, the cause is I am lonely. I'm taking that one instance. I am lonely. and I want you to love me for God's sake. And you don't. You turn away from me. Either commit suicide, right? Or I become full of anxiety, right? Depressed, more depressed than ever. I then escape from myself, football, church, new guru, or the latest literature, the latest picture, talk about it, right? So, is the cause of loneliness seen? Loneliness is a sense of isolation, right? The isolation comes into being as long as I'm self-centered, thinking about myself. I'm unhappy, I want you to love me. You follow? I've reduced all my life, which is such an extraordinary thing, to a small affair, that you love me. You understand? Such a petty little affair I've reduced it to. And being isolated, I'm unhappy, and I wish you'd crave for you to love me. This particular fly is fond of me. You understand? See the tremendous complexity of a very simple question. I want to be loved, and I'm not loved, therefore I'm full of anxiety. And the question said, what am I to do? When the brain is caught in such anxiety, such anguish, it can't think clearly, can it? Right? It can't even listen. It is so full of its own anxiety, its own sense of desperation. Now, can there be an interval in which you listen? You understand? A short period in which you say, tell me about it. And then, will you listen? Or will you say, no, I don't want to listen because I still love being in a tremendous sense of anxiety. You understand? Most people do. Without that sense of anguish, you are nothing. That sense of anguish keeps you alive. No? No, come on, say this is all ordinary psychology, childish psychology. So will you, if you are in such anguish, for a few minutes, listen to what is being said? Or you love your anguish so much you don't want to listen. So, as we were saying the other day, if you really listen with your heart, with your mind, with all your being, then you have a space. Your brain becomes quiet. Then you listen. Then that very listening is like a seed that is being sown. Then you don't have to do a thing. It then grows, multiplies. And when you understand, love is not something to be asked for. You don't stretch out your hand to be loved. That means you are dependent on somebody. That means you really don't love at all. If you are asking another to be loved, you're asking to be loved by another, that means you have no love in yourself. So obvious. If you have love, you don't ask anybody to be loved, that you be loved. See, we are making ourselves into beggars. That's what's happening. When we go to church, pray, we are beggars. When we want somebody to help us, we are beggars. Or when we depend on books, we are beggars. It may be all right, we are a beggar. But see the consequences of it. You're always depending on somebody else. And there are all those people who will help you fill your bowl full of their rubbish.